So our next challenge is medical bills. And man, there's a lot that we could talk about this. And I have so much personal history with this, not just myself, but family members and friends and those that I've done patient advocacy with. Um, Medical bills, there's a lot. And so on the website, you're going to see a lot of resources, a lot of links to people and websites and books and people who really have elevated the space of advocacy in the medical financial world, meaning that for those of you who are dealing with either chronic health issues or acute, just major health crisis, you or your family members, maybe you have children that are having really a lot of scary type of health issues that you're just trying to get to the answers of, just diagnostics of trying to figure out what is happening can cost a lot. The medications to manage a condition can cost a lot. You guys know what I'm saying. And so we all can feel this, if not ourselves directly, someone close to us. I mean, you can just about spit in any direction and you'll find someone who is dealing with a significant amount of medical debt, whether that's from hospitals, whether that's from dealing with doctors. I can say personally from the chronic and complex health perspective, not just me, but those that that I talk to about it and am in, relationship with, knowing them as also having to deal with the daily issues of chronic complex health issues, but the doctors who work with that population, this population that I am a part of, we talk about a lot about how there's a tax that is on us. Sometimes we're talking about the tax of daily living and what we have to go through, but a lot of times there's a financial aspect to that. And one of the things I'll mention is that just our conditions, a lot of them, particularly if you're in the hypermobile community, if you're connective tissue, if you have mast cell activation disorder or syndrome, these in particular are tribes of people who know that you're not going to find a doctor that knows or is willing to manage any one of those conditions, much less if you have the trifecta, unless you pay out of pocket. And there's at least one doctor I know that charges a $7,500 first visit, and says, this is just to take all the time of gathering your information and looking at it, and then we'll meet, and then there's no guarantee. There's going to need to be follow-ups, and we're going to have to just try to see what works for you. So medical bills can add up quick, whether you're in or out of the hospital, either direction. I would say these days, I know so many people who are dealing with some sort of chronic issue of some kind. So medical bills, that's what we're talking about. Now, I'm sharing a video on the website from Ramit Sethi. So I'm just going to be real. I like him. He's not the only person I follow. He just happens to have a video that's really good about how to handle a lot of the challenges that I want to for us to look at. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And he has a really great way of explaining and telling you what it is that you want to look at when trying to reduce bills. And so one of the things he talks about is how opaque medical billing is. Like, you just never really know. And I'll give you, for instance, that's not just a hospital or like if you have to have testing done. It also is with certain doctors. Again, I had to see an eye doctor, a special eye doctor. We wasn't sure if it was dry eyes or an autoimmune condition. Went to see a specialist who wouldn't give me an estimate just for the first visit. And I was really shocked by that. And I said, well, you can't give me an idea or just kind of a roundabout? I need to be able to plan to make sure that I can pay you. And they were like, well, it could start anywhere from 500 to more. And I'm like, well, what's going to happen for that? And they really didn't care to give me a lot of explanation, but did imply that essentially $500 should cover a visit and any kind of medication that I may need, any kind of testing. It would be pretty much included by $500. Well, $700 later, I did end up getting a lot of good information. I did get some medication that I used, and I've used all of that since then. And then I've made sure to tell every single person I know, do you have any kind of eye problem? Let me help save you $700. but you just never know sometimes going into these places. And, I don't know why they can't put themselves in the shoes of a patient to be able to kind of offer some way to anticipate, like, if this is how much you can afford, then we need to stop the conversation at this point. Or, maybe you don't need all of these medications. This is where I would start. It was very frustrating. So, that's the reality of what we're looking at, is that it's in hardly any other business would you go in and not have any clue as to how much it cost or could cost. And then, he calls it arbitrary. It does seem, particularly when you deal with hospitals, even if you're just trying to get imaging or testing out of a hospital, it does seem a little arbitrary what they charge and how they come at their prices. So the first three things he offers is always ask for an itemized bill. And I would like to personally add that goes for doctors. That goes for almost anything medical, even when it comes to diagnostics, even when it comes to your lab charges. There are fees and sometimes things they stick in there. I recently had a doctor to charge me both a fee for the office that I was seen in and a fee to see the doctor. And that was really interesting. I wanted to see if I could charge them a fee for having to have a car to take me to the place, but they didn't think that was funny. So the second step is ask for the cash rate, and see. And that is also true, I think, with doctors, not just hospitals. In the video, Rami pretty much focuses on hospitals. I think that's kind of the implication anyway. And I really think that a lot of this can apply to doctors as well. And there's lots of reasons why you might want to find out that cash rate. It might just be in your best interest to pay the cash rate rather than go through insurance. Sometimes it can, the copays or the out-of-pocket or the deductibles can be so high that you'd be better off doing the cash rate. And then the third thing he mentions is ask about financial hardship, financial aid, payment plans, charity care. That's for hospitals and hospital stays. I would say, again, with financial hardship, financial aid, payment plans, there's a lot of doctors these days who either are not taking insurance or who understands, particularly with complex chronic health issues, that you have to be there quite often and you have to be there to get managed. You have to afford a lot of medications. You have to afford a lot of diagnostic testing. And so they offer plans like that. And that's always worth asking. Generally, they offer that, but if they don't, always ask. Your doctor should know kind of one of the aspects of your decision of your care is financial. And that's just an unfortunate reality, but it is true. He gives a script that you can use when you're talking to a hospital. And I'd say it's kind of about the same for doctors. And he says, I received a bill for, and you fill in the blank for how much you received it for. Can you send me an itemized bill so I can review all the charges? Also, what kind of discounts or payment assistance can you offer me? What if I pay in full? He adds, can you walk me through the process of understanding my payment options and any options to lower the bill? And again, I think that could be used across the board in any medical bill situation, not just hospitals. And I think the more that you can stay really, focused on what can they do to help you reduce the bill, and that you have complete control of in other words, they should understand that you are asking because you don't want to spend any more than you have to, particularly if you're in a chronic illness. You're just going to be doing this again and again. And, it really could be the factor of how you treat yourself or be able to seek treatment depending on the financial payments of this doctor or this procedure or this diagnostic testing. So he leaves with 3 tips. Negotiate the total, get 0% interest payment plan if at all possible, and see if you qualify for financial aid. I mean, that's sort of really brings everything he said into the simplest form. And so a lot of the information that we're going to provide takes this to a little bit more, a little more information for you to be able to work around and to use for your purposes. If you have any questions, any concerns, you want support, please reach out either in the comments on the website. We have the challenge, we have the social media on Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn. Please reach out. We want to hear from you and want to make this as easy and helpful to you as possible. So I look forward to hearing from you.